in 1975, I met a gentleman, a young man, that I had known for quite some time. We actually grew up together. And we met at a Wilson farm in Buffalo, New York. Well, I shared with him that my parents had become Jehovah's Witnesses. And because of that, we had left Church of God in Christ, where him and I grew up together. And so in our conversation, he wanted to see my mom again. And so I took him over and he met my mom again, and they were happy to see each other. And things kind of transpired, and we became really good buddies. And as time went on, he became my first boyfriend and then my husband. I was very young, should not have been getting married, but I did it anyway. We got married in July. In the second week of our marriage, we were told that he had a job in Rochester, New York at Kodak. And so, newly married and pregnant, we moved to Rochester. We had our first child, and then we got pregnant again and we had twins. Shortly thereafter, not even a year, I went to the doctor and I was diagnosed with lymphoma, cancer, and Hodgkin's blood disease. In Rochester, no family, not many friends, and young, with a young husband and 3 very small children. Life just didn't seem to matter. I mean, what was gonna happen? Had I gotten this far for nothing? And so as time went on, I went through surgery, I went through chemotherapy, I went through radiation. And then the doctor said, "You're in remission." Great day for me, to think, I will raise my kids. At least I'll get to see them turn 18 is what I thought at the time. Not knowing that my young husband didn't feel the same. You see, he was afraid that cancer is going to come back and I'm going to be stuck with a sick wife and 3 babies again. And so he left. Now I'm dealing with being a single mom, never having a job, and no husband, and in a city that I really didn't know anyone. Yeah, we were a part of a church, but the Christians that I had met at the time weren't really friendly. And remember, I was brought up as a Jehovah's Witness, so there was a religious gap going on that I didn't quite understand. So as time went on, I found myself homeless. There was one weekend in particular that I can remember that my children and I slept in the car. My dad had always told my younger sister and I, if you're ever in a position where you don't have anywhere to go and you have a car, always go to a well-lit area. So I don't know if some of you remember when the Rochester airport was well-lit and you could actually park along the fence of Brooks Avenue. And so that's where I parked. The kids got on the back seat, they had blankets, they went to sleep, and I cried all night. The next morning, we drove across the street where there was a gas station. We went in, we washed up, we changed clothes, and they went to school. And I had to figure out what next. As time went on, I did find a part-time job, which was able to help me at least get an apartment that we could share and start building a life, me and my 3 children. Afraid, not knowing what to do, and not trusting anyone. You see, the man I loved, he left. So my trust in man was kind of gone at that point. Things got a little better. I began to work. I wasn't making a lot of money, but I was making enough to make ends meet. The rent was paid, usually never on time, but it was paid. And we had something to eat. As time progressed, I just didn't want to be in the church anymore, because during that time of my life, all the Christians I knew had kind of turned their back on me. No one was offering me a meal. No one invited me over for Thanksgiving. It was just me and my 3 kids. And I would say I had 6 eyes always looking at me to make decisions for them. And so I began working for the Rochester City School District as a para, working with children who were learning disabled. And there was a woman in the classroom next door. She was a teacher, and she would invite me to her church. Couldn't do that, I had that experience already. Wasn't going back to that. That's my thought. And so every Friday, she would invite me to Sunday service, and I would say, I'll see what I can do, and then walk away. As time progressed, she realized that every weekend I would find a reason why I could not make it to service with her on Sunday. So during the summer, I didn't see much of her, not knowing that she was dealing with a personal issue of her own. When school began, the staff reported in August, and we were told that this young lady's mother had passed away. She was a very nice young lady, and she would invite me to church, so I felt obligated to at least show up to her mother's service. Again, not thinking that her mother's service would be at the same church she keeps inviting me to. I often laugh now. We talk about God having a sense of humor. He waited me out and kind of made it on my terms that him and I would meet. And so I went to service that day to pay my respects to my friend for the loss of her mom. It was Church of Love Faith Center, Bishop Gregory Paris. Never knew Bishop Paris until that day. And so I sat in the back as he began to minister. And of course, in my mind, he's going to talk about this dead woman, and he's going to, sing a song, and then we all go. That wasn't the case. If any of you know Bishop Paris, you know that he doesn't speak to the dead, he talks to the living. And he talked to me that day. At least God talked to me through him that day. And he pierced my heart.